So first of all, you're sitting in motorized chairs. There's three people on a team, so it's usually three versus three. And there's two goals on either end of the net area. And so you're basically just trying to make goals into the net. And so in the chair that you sit in, there's kind of like a paddle on the front of it. So the only thing that you do as a player is move the chair with the joystick. There's no like external control for the paddle itself. So whenever you like turn, the paddle moves with you. So you're basically just trying to make goals the entire time.
Marley Robinson is a recent Northeastern graduate and software engineer, but in her free time, she's also a Volt hockey athlete. She plays on the Volt hockey team in Boston, Massachusetts, which is the only active team in the United States. Volt hockey is an accessible game of hockey where people with a variety of disabilities sit in motorized wheelchairs with paddles attached and play the sport. It is equally, if not more, accessible than other parasports because its specifically designed chairs allow for anyone to play.
I mean, I think the great thing about this is that it's so accessible to so many different people with a whole range of abilities. Pretty much as long as you have dexterity of one hand even, and some people can actually they can use other forms of control, like they can actually control the chairs like with their elbow. I think they can do it with their head. I've seen some people we saw at the World Cup got very creative with how they controlled the chairs. But pretty much as long as you can control that joystick on the power chair, you can play the game.
Dylan Hogan is a senior at Northeastern University, and he also is the coach for the Boston Volt hockey team. What started out as a volunteering gig as part of his service learning course at Northeastern soon became a passion for coaching this team.
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny because I didn't sign up to be the coach, but it kind of ended up working out that way. We had a big event for a bunch of other students with disabilities in the area at the school, and I literally just went just to help out, like to help set up or whatever. And then when I get there, like all these players are there, like ready to play, and so they asked me like, "Hey, do you mind just leading some drills or something?" And I'm like, "Okay." So I did, and from there I'm like, "Wow, this is actually kind of fun," and so I stuck with it.
Dylan helps with the big things like fundraising and getting the team to the Volt Hockey World Cup, but he also does the small stuff, like recruiting players. Last year, he reached out to Marley, who is the president of the Disability Club, and invited her to come try Volt hockey. That invitation became the catalyst for her Volt hockey career.
At first, I was a little hesitant to do it just because I need a lot of support in like a chair. I'm so with my disability, I have a form of muscular dystrophy called spinal muscular atrophy. So basically just means all my muscles are super weak. So like I have really poor core strength. I've never been able to walk. I can't stand, and my upper body strength is super weak. So in order to sit comfortably in a chair, I need a lot of support, like with straps and cushioning and all of that. So at the beginning, we didn't really have any of that equipment. So we just kind of were like mishmashing a bunch of different stuff together to try and make me comfortable. And then eventually we got some more kind of professional grade equipment that's helped out a lot. So now that I'm able to sit more comfortably, I'm able to play a lot better just because I'm not trying to like exert all my energy just by trying to sit up. And now I can actually kind of focus on like what I'm there to do. I think a lot of people who are disabled who might be interested but are hesitant to try it is because they, at least for me, because I my wheelchair is super customized to my own body, so I'm super comfortable and supported. It can be kind of scary to get out of your own chair and try something else that isn't like customized to you at all. So just like to make it more obvious to other people that we can like make adaptations and customizations so it's super comfy and you don't have to worry about like getting injured or just being in an uncomfortable state for a long time.
I realized just how few opportunities are actually available to people with disabilities, especially people with say like quadriplegia and don't have use of like their upper extremities. Like there's a lot of different sports like wheelchair basketball, sled hockey, even adaptive rugby, which are sports that can be played by wheelchair users as long as they have, use of their arms. And I think this sport is even just more inclusive for a community that's already lacking inclusion. And you can really see just how important it is and how meaningful it is to have this opportunity. Like people are coming from well over an hour away to come to our practices, just because it's so meaningful to them. They enjoy it so much. They have a community that they can play with, be competitive with, but also just bond with. It's important to hear the voices of the players too. Like I know that there was a student who just graduated from Northeastern who she's playing on the team, but I think she also really wants to include her friends that were at Northeastern as well, that couldn't necessarily make it over to Tobin every week, but would play if it was here available on campus, right? So, I hope that university leadership would be able to listen to her as well as me and the rest of the students that are interested at Northeastern. And like, for instance, other organizations that run like local gyms, like the YMCA or BCYF here in Boston. I hope that they can listen to kind of how meaningful it is to the players and see how much of an impact it has and try to, consider that when they're deciding on whether or not to kind of incorporate something like this into their own sports programs.